Hello and welcome to our 11th episode of Aging Well in Wadsworth. This is your life, where we get to cover the stories of people here in Wadsworth. And today is an extra exciting day for me because I get to interview WCTV's greatest leader, Johanna Perrino. So welcome, Johanna.
Thank you. Wow, that's quite an introduction. Thank you, Lori. It's a pleasure, and I'm honored to be on this show. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. And let's start at where were you born? Where did you grow up?
So most people think I'm a Wadsworth native here, but I grew up in Akron, kind of near Chapel Hill Mall. So we call it Upper North Hill. So not the North Hill down where people normally call North Hill, but up towards Talmadge. Grew up there in Akron and went to a very small Catholic school called Christ the King. There were less than 100 kids in the whole K through 8.
Wow.
1983 graduate of St. Vincent St. Mary High School, so proud to be a Fighting Irish.
Just before LeBron graduated.
Right, just a few years before LeBron. And then I went to the University of Akron, where I earned both of my degrees. I have a bachelor's in communications with specializing, back then it was called television production, and that's a story too on how I ended up with that degree. And then a few years later, I decided to go back and get my master's degree. I got a master's in business administration, focusing in marketing, from the University of Akron. So most of my life I spent in Akron until I found Wadsworth.
Wow. So tell us, so after you graduated with your first degree from the University of Akron, where did life take you? Did you come to Wadsworth right away, or were you in Akron for a while?
So actually, while I was still in college, I got my first job, which was with Warner Amex Cable, which is now everyone knows is Spectrum. Back then it was called Warner Cable, then Warner Amex Cable. I was hired as a telemarketer, which was not something, back then, not everyone had cable. It was rare for you to have cable television. So a telemarketer job back then was very lucrative because we just had these sheets and sheets of streets and phone numbers, and we would call people and say, hey, there's cable in your area, would you like it? And for a 19-year-old, the money was great being a telemarketer.
That is awesome. So you got to see that whole cable transition.
Yes. I mean, from cable to the movie channels like the HBOs and the Cinemax, back when they first came out, we were calling these people to let them know that they could get it. And so it was a very easy job. But it was a very valuable job for me because that's where I started, I received the training in customer service and communications. And it was very, very good training. So I really do appreciate that job, even though it was a telemarketer and that has a bad stereotype. But I really received very good training from Time Warner, and I feel like that has helped me all along the way. So that was my first job. Within about a year, I was promoted to a sales trainer. So I became the trainer for the direct sales force and the telemarketers. And then when I graduated college in 1988 with my first degree, I moved into their advertising sales department. And so I did some traffic for that. And then I also became the programming director for their local origination channel, which is a little bit different from WCTV. That's where the cable system they actually choose what they want to air. At WCTV, the community, can submit whatever they'd like for us to air. But with this particular type of local programming, the cable company selects what they want to air. So I became the programming director for that.
Very interesting.
So that was after I graduated college. Well, my last year of college, I was lucky enough to get an internship at WAKC, which was Channel 23, which was the ABC affiliate in Akron. People in the area probably remember that. That was the last local news station. But I got an internship there, and I started working in their news department, in their production. And then after I graduated, I was fortunate to get hired there. And this will be funny. My first position was midnight to 8 a.m.
Wow.
on Friday and Saturday nights. And what my job was master control. At the time, we actually rolled in the commercials manually. So I would sit at this big control board, watch the shows that were playing, and we would have a log that would tell us, okay, at this time, this commercial goes on. And we would actually hit the play button and put it on the air. So that was all done manually. So that was my job from midnight to 8 on Friday, Saturday night. Quite a social life killer for a 22-year-old. But luckily that didn't last too long. And within about six months or so, then I was promoted and started working on the 6 o'clock and the 11 o'clock news, doing their production, graphics, audio, editing, so all those aspects of news production, which I love. I love news production. And the best part of my first job was my pay was $4.50 an hour.
Wow. And that was probably good at that point.
It was, you know what? I didn't care. I was just like, I'm going to work at a television station, and I couldn't wait. I loved everything about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's important to be happy with your job.
Yes.
So,
and honestly, that's been a recurring theme in my career. I honestly have felt like every job, I don't want to say I can't believe I get paid for it, but I have so much fun that I would probably do it even if I didn't get paid. I just love everything about television and television production and everything we do at WCTV. I just have had a blessed career.
That is awesome. Well, so you're at this point in life still with Akron. When did your life intersect with Wadsworth?
So at the time, this would be early 90s, 1992. So I was still working at Time Warner full time. So like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 or 9 to 4. I was teaching aerobics at the time as well.
Oh, wow.
So I would leave there, I would teach aerobics, and then I would go and do the 6 and 11 o'clock news. So I was working 3 jobs. Wow. And I had a family member that does some work in Wadsworth and saw a newspaper article that the City of Wadsworth was going to start staffing a television studio. So they sent me the article, and I applied, and I was hired by Bill Lyron, who I'm eternally grateful to. He was the service director at the time. And the funny thing was that, and I'll tell you my starting salary, which was the best part, it was $19,500. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to make all that money and I'm only going to have to work 1 job.
Oh. And you were really young. I just recently saw the original newspaper article announcing you coming on board with the City of Wadsworth.
I was 25.
Wow.
Yes, I used to, because we were, when I first started, we were in the back of the high school, the old high school.
I remember when you were located there.
Yes, way in the back. And so I would walk around the school and the teachers would tell me to get back to class because they thought I was a student. And I would say, I work here,
Hey, that's a really great compliment. Maybe not at the time, but
it was.
Wow.
But yes, so we've been in a couple locations since then, but it's been, like I said, I'm eternally grateful to Bill Lyron for giving me a chance.
That's awesome. So that was almost the ground up for WCTV.
Yes, I think, so the manager was hired, I believe, in 90 or 91, and they did have one. At the time, my title was facilitator trainer.
Okay.
So they had one person that came before me for a year, and then she was hired in 1991, and then she left, and then I was hired in 1992.
Wow,
in
over
June of
30
92.
years.
So June 1st of this year, which is 2025, I'll have 33 years here.
Wow, I remember. It seems like you were just celebrating 30 years, and here we are.
I know.
Wow, that is pretty incredible. So tell us, what has gone on with WCTV over 30 years?
Oh my goodness, I don't even know where to begin, really. So when I was hired, my job was to basically do outreach in the community and try and get people to use the services of WCTV. At that time, no one had a production studio in their hand in the form of their cell phone. And organizations needed help getting their word out, doing promotions for their events, nonprofit organizations. So my job was to do outreach to all of those organizations and the community members and let them know that we have this television studio, we have equipment, cameras, microphones, that you can produce your own, now we call video content, but your own television shows back then. So that's what I did. And then when someone would come to me with an idea for a program, then I would teach them. Our goal was to teach community members to produce their own television shows. So I would teach them how to run a camera, how to be a host, how to do lighting, how to do microphones, how to do all of that. So that was what I did. So there were maybe, when I first started, there might have been 100, maybe they'd do 100 shows a year. And now we're doing almost 2,000. So
that's amazing.
That was my job, and I loved it because I just love working with our producers. They're all volunteers. None of our community producers are paid, and I just loved working with them and seeing their idea come to fruition. It was just very rewarding. So I've had the pleasure of doing that for all these years. Now in the past, 5 years or so, when now everybody has their own ability to create their own content, edit it and everything on their phones or things they have on their home computers. We don't do as much of that, but now we still have that opportunity available to community members. But now WCTV is getting more into producing our own video content and highlighting things in our city, in our schools, in the City of Wadsworth, the government, the senior center, just things that really make Wadsworth a community unmatched, which we are. So that is kind of where WCTV is evolving.
That is awesome. And I know you moved to the community center campus at the same time the Suprema Senior Center did. Right. Back in early 2013, January 2013, and we're neighbors across the hall, which is wonderful. And I have to mention, I know you are not only with WCTV, you are so involved in the community. And it was really interesting to learn how you were involved with the Center for Older Adults back when we were called the Center for Older Adults downtown.
Yes.
I came on board in 2009, but prior to that, there was something called Focus on Seniors, and you were a part of that. Tell me a little bit about that.
So it was nice to talk about this because I had honestly forgotten about what we had started there. So it was called Wadsworth Focus on Seniors. The then director of the Senior Center, Nancy Likens, wanted to get a group together of now what you would call your professional friends. So nonprofits that service seniors, businesses that service seniors, and then just some community organizations. So as part of my job doing outreach, that's why I'm so involved in everything in the community, is because my job was to be involved and to help all these organizations. So that's why everyone says, oh, you're on every board, you're on every committee. Yes, because that was my job.
Sure.
So, and I've continued to do that. So anyway, so Nancy wanted to put this group together. So I was one of the founding people called Wadsworth Focus on Seniors. And we just would meet once a month and we would just talk about events that we could do for the senior center. Very much like what your professional friends do now, or your Wadsworth Older Adults Foundation does. So we started things like the prom, what you call now the expo, the caregivers expo, but we would do kind of like a trade show at the senior center. Just anything that we thought would bring value to the senior center members.
That is awesome. And that was early to mid 2000s.
That would have been early 2000, I would say.
Sure.
Yes, and there were people like Pam Myers from Home Instead, and we were talking about some of the people that
Colleen Krebs, I believe.
Colleen Krebs, Brad Botdorf, Jeff Nicodemus they were with Liberty Residents at the time. All the assisted livings and nursing home had a representative.
Well, I have to congratulate you because you have been selected by the Wadsworth Older Adults Foundation to be inducted into the Senior Advocate Hall of Fame with a Lifetime Leatherman Achievement Award, which is huge, Johanna. Like, congratulations.
Thank
first
you
of
so
all.
much. I'm
But
honored.
They are, they saw how you have been so involved, making a difference in the lives of the older adults in the community. I think you're making a difference in the lives of all ages, but specifically with seniors. And I know that started back at the old, when we were the old senior center, but it continues even today. And I know you've been integral in helping the Suprema Senior Center train our volunteers. We now have a camera crew. We're able to, the Wadsworth Older Adults Foundation was able to purchase a camera with the direction of you letting us know, you and your staff, what equipment do we need. You've really guided us that whole way, and we're able to bring programming and shows to seniors at home and the rest of the population to bring awareness of the Suprema Senior Center. But you've just been so integral in that, and I just want to personally thank you.
Well, thank you. And I think this really is the most valuable partnership we've ever had.
Wow.
Honestly. And to have you guys right across the hall. I know you and I were like, when COVID hit, we were single people trying to just keep our departments going at the time. And so I value everything that we have put together during that time and moving forward. Like I said, this has been, having you right across the hall has been, I know, beneficial for you guys because you've been able to do virtual programming during COVID.
Yes.
And now all the programming that we're able to help you videotape and air on our channels and on our YouTube channels and offer it to the people that maybe can't come or missed it. But our partnership has just been amazing. It's been super rewarding for me just to be across the hall, because the people that I have met here that I would not have met had we not been right across the hall. Having the cafe and coming over here for coffee and meeting the regulars. Like you had asked me for some pictures, and I was looking back at pictures, and Stan the man, Al, Jim. I mean, there's so many of these, the best generation, gentlemen from the best generation, that I will never, ever forget.
Right.
And they have definitely made a difference in my life, as do the people that are here now. It just continues. I'm just amazed at what you've done with this place, and honestly, I can't wait to be a part of it when I retire sometime soon. So, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. That partnership
it's very vibrant. It is not what you think of as a senior center. It's honestly almost like a youth center.
It's a place to be, and we do have,
I
have to say our membership's free for anybody 55 or better, and we regularly have people that come on their 55th birthday or right around there, because it's a privilege to turn 55 in
really
Wadsworth and Medina counties, so that's wonderful. But you really have been integral in letting us be a senior center without walls. That's what we've been known for since COVID, when we started the Zoom programming, and now being able to air things on WCTV. It's just invaluable. And you recently started a foundation, and that's been another really cool partnership. So tell us a little bit about that.
So that was one of my bucket list things I wanted to do before I retired, was to start a foundation similar to what you have with the Wadsworth Older Adults Foundation, which fundraises and provides support to the senior center. Our WCTV Foundation does somewhat of the same thing. We do fundraising events that raise money to be used for WCTV. So we're both city departments. We have healthy budgets, but sometimes there's something in there that we would like to do that maybe is not in our budget, and that's where our foundations step in. So I'm really excited about that. Like I said, it's something I've always wanted to have and do. So I thank our board of directors that has helped pull all this together. And of course, Roger Polk, who's become a local celebrity here at the Senior Center. He has really been instrumental in our fundraising. We do a 40 times $500 raffle where we award $500 every time we sell 100 tickets to it. And he's just been really amazing with that. So.
And you often pull that winner live, like
here
last
at
week,
the Senior Center, because your attendees buy so many of those tickets. So we're hoping one day we'll have the winner actually be in the cafe when we're pulling it. But yeah, so the foundation is just constantly growing. We're about 3 years old.
Wow.
And so constantly growing and hope to be sustainable and keep WCTV sustainable as well.
That is awesome. And the WCTV Foundation, under your direction and with the help of people like Roger and Jenny
Yes.
and Young, and you have really met a need here, because there's times on Friday mornings the cafe is closed because they are going through training, and you all will bring in donuts and hot coffee to sell to our
Right.
bigos. So there's still food here available. They get their Anne's pastry treats.
Right. Yep.
And that has been a really neat partnership.
And we love it. Yes, we love it. And we're able to do some fundraising and help you guys at the same time.
Yes.
So
That is really wonderful. So we are very thankful for you. Seniors love WCTV. And I know you are so involved in the community. Anything else you want to share about what you're involved in?
I'm involved with the Wadsworth Chamber of Commerce, which I've been a member of really almost since I started working here, because that was a good way for me to do
Sure.
outreach. I'm actually starting my 14th year on the board of directors for the Wadsworth Chamber of Commerce. So I am the longest serving board member for the Wadsworth Chamber.
Congrats.
I've come on and off a couple times, and Janie just keeps reeling me back in. But I love it. I am a huge fan of small businesses. I think entrepreneurs are just a rare breed, and to see small businesses succeed is really rewarding. I love our downtown. I love all the small businesses that have come into our downtown. As we all know, the downtown is the heart of the community. If that's thriving, the rest of the city is thriving. So I have served as a board member on Main Street Wadsworth, and I still serve as a committee member helping them plan their events. So I love to stay involved with that as well. I've served on a graduate of leadership Medina County, which I know you're doing this year, which is a year that just changed my life, and I know that you have said the same thing.
Thank you for encouraging me, by the
You
way.
are very welcome. I knew that it would be perfect for you. So did serve on the board of leadership Medina County as well as a graduate, and I encourage anyone that is thinking about doing that program to do it, because you learn so much about the county. Again, helped me with outreach as well, because I got to learn about so many organizations and people and entities that I would have not known about.
Yeah, connections are amazing.
Connections. That's what it's all about. Relationships and connections. I know Aiden's running the camera here. We've gone out in a couple shoots, and he always says, "You know everybody," and I said, "That's what it's all about. Is just relationships and connections," and that's why I always say I feel like I haven't even worked yet.
Wow.
Because I really feel like I get to come to work and hang out with my friends and make TV and just learn every day. I say I know a little about a lot of things, because we do lots of programming on lots of different subjects. And so I know a little bit about a lot of things, and I know a lot about a few things, and those are my passions.
Wow.
Those are my passions.
I
And I've
love
tried a
that.
lot of things, and that's what you have to do. Just try until something sticks.
Sure.
And I was lucky that the thing that stuck in college, which I started out in computer science,
Really?
took all the math classes, all the calculus classes, and I loved math actually. And then it came time to take an elective, and I took something in the media production department as a junior. And I remember coming home and telling my dad, I'm switching. I'm going to make TV. I'm going to get paid to make TV.
Wow, and you've done that. Oh my
So I
goodness.
did, and the rest is history. And if I wouldn't have tried that class,
So
I would have
trying
never
new
known.
things.
Try anything.
So as we are wrapping up, what would be your biggest advice to someone watching for aging well?
Well, you have you have what everyone needs to stay aging well. You have classes, you have exercise, the YMCA is attached.
Yes.
I mean, just staying active in the community. Because as I'm contemplating retiring soon, it is strange to think, well, what is your purpose after you're not Johanna from WCTV? You know, so just staying involved in the community, coming here, taking the classes, keeping your body active, which you can do here at the YMCA. I think that's the key.
I love that.
And you have the perfect place right here.
Thank you.
Yes, just stay active. And you and your staff are amazing at encouraging people to do that. You really are. You really make it a welcoming. You come in here and you make it a welcoming place. And that's what I try to do at WCTV as
you do.
well.
You're very successful, and your staff is amazing.
They
as
are.
well.
They are. I just want people to come in and feel welcome and want to hang out and walk in and go, ooh, this is a cool place. I want to be here.
And that's the feeling you get when you come
Good.
to WCTV.
Oh, good.
And I just have to say, Johanna, you are so inspirational. And I so appreciate what you do for the Wadsworth community. And I'm so excited that you'll be able to be a part of the Senior Center,
Yes.
even after retirement, because we still want to see you all
Yes.
the time.
Yes.
And thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
today. And congrats on being inducted into the Senior Advocate Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Well, if you are watching this and you would like to share your story on the show, feel free to reach out to me, Lori Wilkinson, and I'd love to invite you for a fireside chat right here at the Suprema Senior Center, and we hope to see you soon. Come see us. Bye-bye.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.